I believe that utilizing complementary colors in our photography is the single most effective way to make an image really jump off a page or off a screen. We don't spend enough time thinking about color when we shoot. We should, and I want to talk about that. I'm going to show you some examples too. When I look through all the images that I like the best, that I've shot over the years, whether it's a landscape, shot, food, portrait, they all have complementary colors in common. They all use color to really pop off the page. I think we spend too much time thinking about compositions and technical aspects of photography and don't give color the attention it deserves. When I look at shooting any kind of image, I'm looking at two main things. I'm looking at the lighting and color. Now you'd think, oh, what about composition? Well, composition is a given. I mean, that's ingrained inside me. It's something I don't even think about now. It's sort of, I just push it away and it just sorts itself out. It really does. So it's color and lighting. Now, with landscape photography, lighting usually takes priority, and in fact it's lighting that can often create those wonderful complementary colors anyway. But other types of photography like food and portraiture and travel, color is the main thing I'm usually looking for. Here's an example from Blue Hour, the perfect time to work with complementary color. Now with this one I did adjust the red slightly to match the blue better. It was a little bit more orange originally, but the red just works a little bit better for me. Here's a classic evening Blue Hour shot, a deep blue sky with orange lights. How can you not resist looking at that? This one was shot before sunrise and we've got more magenta in the blue, so the contrasting oranges are a little bit more sort of pinky orange, and it just works so nicely. With this image, the contrasting colors are a lot more subtle, but it's the icing on the cake. It just works so well. I did make a separate video about how I created this image, so I'll put the link at the end of this video. I think you might find that interesting. Here again, I'm using a similar subtle color palette, and with this type of images, often the colors aren't always apparent, and you have to give a little bit of thought to how you might process the image to work with the colors in front of you. There's something about rusty red browns and steel blues that I personally really like. This one is using really strong colors and I absolutely love how it grabs attention. It's the perfect type of image to use for a brand on social media. I think teal and orange is probably the most appealing combination there is. The human eye just loves it, and that's probably why movies are often color graded with this combination. Images that employ a good use of bright complementary colors actually have the most commercial value. The most appealing colors are oranges, yellows, reds and pinks. That's why sunsets and sunrises are so popular in marketing and get so many likes on social media. As humans, we're just wired to be attracted to those types of colors. Now going back to teal and oranges and creating that sort of cinematic movie vibe, this is what I was trying to achieve with this image. It was that late night moody Blade Runner feel. In this street photo, I was actually looking for complementary color, and when I saw the traffic light backlight the steam from the subway vents, I realized that when they turn red, it would contrast lovely with the cool steel buildings behind. Then I realized that streetcars were also red, so I actually spent a lot of time with this one waiting for everything to fall into place, and I did consider the composition. I figured that having the light post, the lamp post in the right third of the frame, and knowing that someone would be standing there ready to cross the road was going to be the focal point. So I also figured that using the streetcar, it would not only introduce more red, it would act as a leading line to where somebody would be standing. I must confess though that the person standing there in this shot with the red coat matching everything else, that was total luck. My all-time favorite portrait I've shot was for a musician for a magazine article. And the reason I love this so much is, again, down to the appeal of this teal and orange color combination. I wanted that cinematic look the moment the musician turned up and I saw she had orange hair. I was expecting her to be blonde, so this was a real pleasant surprise and resulted in one of my favorite portrait images. I also like to use teal and orange in food photography, and as I said earlier, the great thing with food, or any sort of products or sort of set that you're building inside, you're completely controlling the light and you can control the colors that you use. So everything that I do when I'm setting a food shoot, it's all based around color. Everything is considered, and this orange butternut squash soup is a good example. One more example that shows that using complementary color is a very, very powerful tool for creating a very specific vibe to an image. With this example, it's a shot of a very famous house on the Hollywood Hills in California that it was actually again for another magazine article, and the color grading I used to really make this work was just a slight adjustment in Photoshop of the blue sky to make it tie in with the turquoisey blue in the swimming pool, and having those two colors match and sandwich this warm stone color in the middle that complements it. Just works really well. This house is a very famous 1950s retro house, and I think that color combination just captures it perfectly. I think that's one of my favorite architectural shots I've done because of contrasting color. So there's one tool that I would recommend that you take a look at, and I'll leave the link in the description below. And that's it's a website that Adobe have got. It's a color wheel, and you can sample a color from somewhere and drop it in and choose a whole bunch of different color palettes, different colors that work with that color that you've selected. Now, was this useful? I would love to hear you comment below, or at least just give it a like. Is color as important to you as composition and lighting? See you soon.